No, as far as I know, that's live. I mean, yes.
It seems live.
And that's yours chat in the chat. Okay, it appears to be live.
Yeah.
I'll assume it's live. This may be the first hurdle and first and only hurdle we'll get over is going live at the beginning.
Right.
Despite all the time and all the warning and the talk, I have not completely sorted out my internet problems.
Despite all my rage.
Yeah, despite all my rage, I'm still just a rat in a cage. What the fuck is that? What stupid song is that?
It's a Smashing Pumpkins, ain't it?
All right. Yeah, they had one album that was sort of okay. I don't know. I wouldn't be into them really.
I think they write good songs. It's just that goddamn voice, man. Like,
actually,
Jesus.
the only one I really liked was that one little song, "Today is a Happy Day" or something like that, or "Today is a Good Day," or
1979.
I don't remember. Is that what it's called?
There's one song. That's a pretty okay song.
All right, we're talking shit. We're talking about shit.
Yeah, talking about fucking garbage and poopy.
But you haven't frozen up. So maybe the test will work. And this would be, maybe it's going to work. I mean, imagine that. No problems.
Hey,
no
man.
Technical mishaps, no total embarrassments.
You know, I rolled my chicken bones before we fucking got on the stream here, and had a witch doctor set me up, so I think we'll be okay.
In your fisherman's hat?
Yeah, this is I guess it's a fisherman's hat. I put the snap on the side for, well, I don't really want to say why.
Okay. A great mystery that we'll never unfold.
Let's just say that's an aesthetic of a certain national people.
Oh.
And I'll leave it at that.
Right. Okay. I thought like the Rhodesians or something. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. You steamrolled it. I appreciate that.
Okay, that's all right. I mean, who cares?
I didn't want to say it. You said it.
Roads. Hey,
it's not, people that like roads.
We're maybe on YouTube, but we're still allowed to mention Cecil Rhodes and Rhodesia that it was.
Okay. Well, there we go. All right.
Yeah, he was quite brilliant. In fact, did you know Rhodesia under Rhodes was competing with like America for one of the wealthiest countries in the world?
I do.
In the early days, which is amazing.
Well, the problem with that is the imperialism. What? The imperialism kind of got him fucked there after a while, and now that didn't work out so well, did it?
The imperialism. I don't know the details of his. I've heard many conflicting stories about what happened and didn't happen, and the good and bad points of this man. But it's pretty amazing that this one guy just went out there and created his own country in that old-fashioned conquering Ragnar Redbeard kind of way. So I've always have a certain admiration for it, anyways.
Sure.
But there's great old magazines from before when they were still a Rhodesia. Have you ever seen them? Like Visit Rhodesia, and they'll have like super sexy, basically like British women, I guess, like in the African sun and by swimming pools and stuff.
It was basically like the Paris of Africa instead of what is, Paris is now the Africa of France, which is nice.
Yes. All right, so we have a list, and things are working so far.
Fantastic.
So let's hit that list. And
we got
disaster befalls us and it stops working.
Our dear creative pioneer that fled, oppression and basically nationality and his own people, Mr. Salman Rushdie, got attacked pretty violently at one of his events, apparently. That's the first on the list. Did you hear about this?
I did, of course. Yep.
Yeah.
And I think he nearly died even after the attack. Someone said he lost sight in one eye, but then
he's still alive.
I heard.
No. That's it. I can't hear you. I'm guessing you can hear me, but I can't hear you. Fuck.
No, that's okay. That's fine.
Oh, there we are.
Always no, that's fine. It's something to do with my mic or something. At some point, once every, it's nothing to do with the internet connection. So it's nothing to do with the Ethernet and all that crap.
All right.
Because once every podcast, my mic mutes itself. Once, maybe twice, and I have no idea why. That's always happened. That's got nothing to do with the connection. Freezing. That's fine.
All right. So what did you say right there? I missed all of that.
Oh shit! Well, What were we talking about? Oh, right. I did, when it first came out, try to read his boring book.
Which one?
The one he got in trouble for, the fucking
Satanic Verses.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I read about half of it, and I thought, what is this boring rubbish? Like, what's all the controversy?
Yeah.
It's like a weird semi-fiction thing. I wouldn't have been hugely versed back then at that time as to even what Islam was. I wouldn't have really known the difference, say, between a Muslim and a Hindu, I don't think.
Right.
I mean, this is talking like when it came out, when I was like, a teenager. I remember getting it, or someone had it, and I tried to read it. So maybe actually it's not fair, and if I read it today, I wouldn't find it so boring.
I would say it's probably fair.
Why have you tried to read it?
I haven't read that one. I read his book, The Sea of Stories. I can't remember the name. It's like Hashim and the Sea of Stories. I read that. My ex-girlfriend put me up to it, and it was just complete, mamsy-pamsy, fucking traitorous, international slurry of a book, parading as like a book for children, basically, is what it was. It was terrible. I mean, like, okay, some of the imagery and figures, okay, that was kind of cool, but that it's one of those things that the story couldn't make me not see the political angle of it. It was forced. It felt very forced in there, and he was talking about real people, which is another reason why he got hunted down. And what happened, I guess. So
he got in trouble. He got in trouble for that book too. Like every time he puts out a book, he gets in trouble, and someone wants to kill him. Is that?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's I eventually ended up burning that book. I do that.
Right.
It's a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, so.
Well, you get cold though. You need fuel. Go on.
Well, he's one of these people that is just parroted or is just heralded as a free speech, king in America, right? From the other side that works to limit all expressions of free speech from anyone that they disagree with. And we can see why, because his free speech is in the limit of another people that is the enemy of the system class, basically. And so he can say whatever he wants about them.
Yeah, so he's just like a normal trashy liberal guy, basically, right?
Yeah.
So I just looked, and I don't think we're on the entropy at the moment. Now, everyone's gonna have to forgive me. This is a test stream because I'm trying to figure all this crap out.
Yeah.
Looks like I was supposed to go in there and put the link in there in entropy, and I did not know that. So let me just do it now if I can. Hold on.
Okay.
You keep talking about the Rushdie if you got more to say about him while I do this.
Well, and it's emblematic of how these unsung heroes of the system class, of the elite, the luxury belief enjoyers, they heroes of the system class, of the elite. I can hear myself.
Yeah, I had to go into YouTube to get the link to try this. I don't even know if I'm doing the right thing. I just thought it would show up right away in entropy for some reason.
But yes, I mean that's basically it. I mean, it says one of the. Go ahead.
It says, this fucking thing. I don't know what's going on. I don't know anything about this. It says it must be an entropy or DLive or URL. So, okay, we won't be on entropy, I guess, for this one until I figure out what No, that's right. Entropy stream. Oh fuck. OBS. I don't even know what that means. Join another account. Sign in with YouTube. So if I signed into entropy with my YouTube instead of just from entropy. See, this is a step I didn't realize. So I had to go in there. I have to go in and set it up properly and add my YouTube. Okay, so sorry. Keep talking.
Well, I don't know where to begin.
Okay, so he's just a shitty. I knew he was a sort of a typical atheist kind of guy. Like, a new atheist. I'd see him talking to Dawkins and doing their smug little, talk.
Yeah, and sort of anti-Islam for liberalism, basically, is his bit.
Right.
I guess. Which is an interesting... I mean, it's so old hat, right? You wouldn't have that now. I mean, you couldn't have that now. But he can do it, right?
Yeah, so listen, I'm not gonna fucking do this shit. So forget the entry. It's not working.
I don't know what that is, but all right.
It's this thing. Okay, well, I was told to use it, but I'll have to figure that out next time. Sorry, I didn't have that set up right.
But we're gonna be on YouTube.
Well, we're on the YouTube, yeah. It's working.
All right.
So that's
good deal.
I mean, we probably wouldn't get any questions on this one either. As long as we keep doing it at the regular time and day, eventually we'll start getting like more interaction and questions, and people will know what to expect. I don't expect any really this time, but if we got one, that's fine.
Yeah.
I didn't even look to see. There's probably like 1 or 2 people watching. But even like the one guy I know who was excited to watch it, he was going to watch it on Entropy, so I fucked that up. So sorry. Yeah. So the Salman Rushdie, I don't know enough about him to go on too much. So yeah, he got stabbed. He's kind of a shitty guy. Maybe he doesn't deserve to get stabbed and lose his eyeball or whatever happened.
Shit sucks. He didn't die, so no crab dance gifts and emojis, basically.
Yeah. So I'm just not invested in this guy one way or the other, and there was a time.
The people, Brendan, the people know. This is one of those relevant things we can talk about.
What do you mean? Oh, because everybody knows about it.
I guess.
Well,
I mean, why do people know about writers in the modern age? I mean, what other fucking books do people even know about? Like what? 50 Shades of Gay? Oh, or Gray?
Yeah, well, nobody actually knows this guy either, and like very few have even tried. At least I tried, and you tried to read one of his books. Most of them would just be reading a bit of news.
I read that some bitch.
Oh,
I read the whole thing.
So yeah, you were really wrapped around this girl's finger. She had you on the.
Well, I had her reading books too.
Oh, was this the reason the last one or whatever?
Yeah.
Old one. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, we all know about her.
Apparently, I don't know how this
if you were
how my yeah.
Oh, we all like to talk about your romantic life, really?
Yeah, no,
everyone except you.
Yeah.
Let's get into okay, so fine. So Rushdie, I don't have anything like he's a people know who he is. They don't. Most of them haven't read his books. I don't care. There was a time, say, when I would have been like, when I was years ago, many years ago, I would have been like, oh, because I would have been all about, for a brief period of time, I was the kind of person who would be very worried about Islam and that sort of thing. And I'd be like, this is outrageous. Someone in the West has been stabbed and all this kind of thing. But now I don't even, in a way, I kind of appreciate their vigor in exacting a revenge and like never giving up on it. I can appreciate that.
It didn't take them a damn while. They've been swearing revenge on this motherfucker for like what, 20, 30 years now.
But at least they follow through. They don't just leave it. Like it truly never does end. Like,
yeah, I mean, the paint didn't dry. That's for sure. You can still move it around.
Yeah, that funny level of conviction they have, which is at times obviously incredibly torturous and painful, but also at times sort of admirable. What can you say? Where we don't have any real admiration for Rushdie with his little petty bourgeois atheism and
so he talked to that other guy. What's the other guy that liberals really love? Chomsky. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, Jesus Christ! No, I saw him talking with Dawkins in that crowd.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So
Chomsky, was he talking to Chomsky too?
Why wouldn't he? It seems like that's the pods in the pea, right, or the vice versa.
Well, the pod goes in the pea. Oh no, you're right. It's vice versa. Shit, and I was being all smug about it.
Yeah.
In the pod. Yeah, but there's no. It's a very objective thing. But yes, it was reversed. But yeah, no, you're right. I mean, why wouldn't they speak with that fucking guy too? Who's even more boring? Is the most banal, boring person that ever existed.
Which one, Chomsky? You're mute again. You muted again. Oh yeah.
That's all right. No, that always happens. That's something else. That's something we're gonna have to live with. That's something we're gonna have to live with. I'm not even bothered by that one. As long as there's internet, basic internet. I'm not bothered. You just tell me if that goes mute, and I'll just click the button, and presto, I will not be.
All right.
But yeah, no, I read one of Chomsky's books too, I think.
What books did he write? I'm not too familiar with that guy, other than he sucks.
I don't remember it. Like, I just remember him whining about Bill Clinton, just like a whining fucking diatribe of like most boringly laid out facts and like his version of history and the way things are going. And I don't know, a whole lot of whining about morals and ethics from like a very certain standpoint, which he tries to justify,
right,
in that Chomsky anarchist way. And they're really like just not interesting at all to read, like not remotely. It was one of those driest books I ever read. But he hated Bill Clinton. I remember that. A lot of it was about Bill Clinton and how he was causing death in certain countries by starvation and so forth. What was it? It was somewhere in Asia and in the South America. Whatever. Just the usual American empire, CIA type shenanigans and stuff, I guess. The proxy war stuff that they kind of got away with a lot. Well,
and now that we've basically come back to in the last couple months.
I don't think you Americans ever stopped doing it.
No, we didn't.
No, I just think now you just either, before you would get like in the 80s and that this was a book from the 80s or 90s. And when was Clinton president? Yeah, the 19s, not the 90s, wasn't it? Yeah. And
yeah,
all through that you'd be doing it a lot, but you would do it and it wouldn't even make the news. It'd be like, oh, the Americans are doing a police action over here, or they've had to do this and over in Venezuela or whatever. But like now,
right,
since the disaster of Iraq and I guess Afghanistan, now it's like you don't get away with it like you used to. The world is, and look with the internet the way it is, they definitely don't get away with it like they, and they're definitely not. I'm not sure they ever won these things. It was just kind of like go in, create a disaster, make some money, move on. Whatever the point of it ever was, I'm not sure. If there was ever an intention to win, yeah, like you don't really conquer the countries and change their minds about anything, or you just kind of go in, destroy things, and then move on. I don't know what the.
I mean, I could get more in depth on this, but I'm not.
Oh, right. Well, we all could, yes, but no, this is YouTube after all.
So you want to get back to the list here? What we got?
What were we talking about? Oh yeah, we're still talking about Rushdie and fucking yeah.
Oh, we can.
Chomsky's even more boring. So yeah. If that is probably Rushdie's territory, and those guys, while I don't wish them death exactly, I don't care, I guess, if they.
I will say, at least with Dawkins, that he is principled with his stupid beliefs. I will give him that, because he has suffered a lot of scrutiny and controversy from his opinions. And when I see that, it makes me think that somebody actually believes what they're saying, basically.
Well, he does, yeah. In his case, yeah. If you watch, you can see the evolution of what happened to him. In that he was a presenter on BBC, I think.
Oh, was he?
He was always being trotted out on shows, Mr. Science Guy, Mr. Biology Guy.
Yeah.
And he would talk about evolution a lot. He was interested in evolution, which is obviously real. Everybody knows. Well, not everybody, but he began to get a lot of attacks and getting to arguments from anti-evolution Christians. And
right.
This slowly evolved his hate over the years.
Yes, the system's low-hanging fruit, as it were.
So this made him write his books and launch his attack on Christianity.
Well, it's not even just. I mean, that's the thing that I appreciate about him. He is dismissive of all religions.
True. Equally.
Which is not something you usually see from atheism. Atheism is usually like a sea attack on Christianity and nothing more for the most part.
Yeah, he truly hates them all. Yeah. In a way, he's the best of them, and he's the original one. Even though he's still kind of, all his arguments are kind of liberal, crappy. Oh, the Bible still says you can still keep slaves, kind of shit.
Right.
Whining and not, And
now, is that the Bible or is that the Old Testament? And by the Old Testament, I mean the first, several chapters.
Well, nowhere in the Bible does it say anything against slavery, as is the case in all good books.
All good books from antiquity. No, we're back.
But I mean, that's all I was able to. But no, I don't mean to launch a defense of Dawkins, because overall I do dislike him. Although, actually his book, he wrote a science book on genes and evolution. What was it? The Selfish Gene. That wasn't bad.
Yeah.
That was interesting. I remember thinking, okay, that's all right. And I read the what was his big book, The God Delusion.
Yeah, The God Delusion.
Yeah. And I remember watching their video. I used to watch their videos, the New Atheists, and they're going to take down this guy. And it was so easy to get their little attacks in. But then I remember seeing one once. The first time they couldn't win, and they were actually demolished. And it was this guy from Northern Ireland. I don't remember his name. And he just totally dismantled and destroyed them. And I remember because I was on their side at the time. I was like, oh, this is painful. They're getting, because I thought I was an atheist for a little while too, as embarrassing as it is. Anyways, so fuck them all. So that's the end of Salman Rushdie. What's number 2?
Number 2 is, let's see. Well, I get to hang out basically where I grew up as a very small child. This really mysterious area, and I say mysterious because it's got animals that I've never seen anywhere else.
Was it Narnia?
I don't know. It's very strange. There's a waterfall back there, and I mean, you see animals that you wouldn't expect to be. I mean, there's dung beetles back there, and rhinoceros beetles, and all sorts of butterflies, moths, lunar moths, and swallowtails, and black swallowtails, and all these really intricate, beautiful creatures that have these amazing patterns. And you look at some of these moths and these butterflies, and they have eyes on their wings and whatnot, right?
Which saying it's a portal. It's a portal to another dimension. Is that?
Like I said, I've never seen any of the creatures that are in this area anywhere else where I'm from or anywhere else in the country, really. So okay. I have no idea. It seems like it must be just a fertile ground that they've just migrated to over thousands of years, basically.
So you found a little isolated area that's unique in your area.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm there quite a bit, so these creatures kind of crawl in just from wherever, and I take photos of them and appreciate them, and like I said, with the moths with the eyes on it, I mean, that is basically to scare predators away, to make them think that they're like owl's eyes and all sorts of stuff like that, like snakes, and I was just thinking about the design of nature and how this evolution has come for survival's sake, right? That's what they would say, wouldn't it be?
Dawkins in that, or you mean just
not even just? Whatever with him. I'm just saying like that's basically what people say that have the evolutionary perspective, like
what was the Darwin perspective. Say the sentence again. What was it? What was the culminating sentence? That they're there to survive or something? What did you say?
Yeah, it's like a survival. It must be a survival strategy that's been cultivated over evolutionary processes for thousands to millions of years, right?
That you found an area that is rife with certain beetles that you wouldn't normally see.
Well, I'm just talking about with the moths with like eyes, eyes on their wings and stuff like that look like owl's eyes.
Right. Yeah, well, that's the amazing. Yeah, this is the part of evolution. Now, this is why I think personally the evolution story is not complete. That it's mostly what Darwin said is mostly true, and even you could say arguably was commonly known but unspoken. You could sort of say that in the sense that everyone knew about breeding dogs and breeding pigs, and how you take a certain pair, you take 2 smart pigs, chances are you'll get smart piglets. You take you take 2 extra large horses that are fair, you'll get a large. A higher percentage of large, fair foals, or whatever you call them. What do you call a baby horse?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A pony, maybe.
Right. So that was understood, obviously, because for many centuries before Darwin, they were breeding animals and knew what the result would be. And they obviously knew about breeding humans similarly too, I guess. How could you not? It's just basic observation of your eyes. But yeah, the things like the eyes and the butterflies, like the weird stuff, or some of the sea creatures that have really crazy things. And then you watch this documentary and the guy just says, it does this so that it, you see like some kind of crazy sea slug, multicolored sea slug, and it completely mimics or imitates some other kind of species of animal, supposedly to either scare away predators, make it think it's, I don't know, all these weird and totally insane mechanisms that just happen through random breeding. I just think the random natural selection part of just random breeding and like everything that happens is like, it's like letting rats escape through a maze, and whatever rat escapes, wins, and it's just random. I just think also there's another. It's not the story is not fully explained because some of them are so. Like you pulled this out of your hat, so I'm not prepared for this. That is, it may have been on the list, but I didn't really look at the list. Or was this on the list?
Yeah, it's on the list.
Oh shit. Okay, so it's my fault for not really being prepared.
No, but you said it was a good idea. In your old age, you're getting on, brother.
I didn't know we were talking about this. I didn't know we were talking exactly about this. I thought you were.
We have another. There's another part of this too, which we'll get to. But yeah, you go off, good. King. You're doing fine.
Oh, good. Yeah, and I thought you meant like cultural evolution, maybe. No, because there's
no. We can get there. We can get there for sure.
There's wonderful examples of animals that their evolution and the things they do are so crazy, and you just think, okay, so this just evolved through breeding. That somehow all the ones died that didn't do, like that their wings didn't turn into a giant like pink, something resembling the ass of another animal with like, electric eyes glowing out of it or whatever, like some insane thing. And you just think, is that really the full reason? Like, it just doesn't feel like it's fully explained just with natural selection. And I've read like the likes of Dawkins tried to go into great detail, coming back to him for some reason. Well, it's evolution. So I think in the selfish gene as to why it is purely natural selection at work. And here's how and why. But if I had the right examples handy, which I should have done, you can really see what I mean. In that there's at least a few you can think of where it's like, that's so crazy though. Is that really the reason? And did they even, like, did the whale was apparently some kind of animal like a wolf, a land animal, that just took to the water and started swimming so much that it turned into a whale over time. And according to, say, biologists like Dawkins, this is purely for reasons of food or something, that it was economically food-wise to, over millions of years, turn yourself into a whale, and God knows what they'll turn into from there. Or is it something that happens for more obscure and random reasons? And even in an act of, not destiny, but, well, bloodline destiny, you might say. But anyways, that's all.
So you're saying, so basically the hypothetical situation would be a wolf type creature that maybe was in a lush area a million years ago. A million years later, this has turned into the desert. And so therefore the only food source is the fish that are by the desert or by the dry area, kind of like a California of sorts. And so
maybe strictly according to Dawkins it would be, but that's not even, because if you look at, say, the iguanas in the Galapagos that started all this supposedly, that swim, right? Like, iguanas are supposed to swim, but they swim there. I don't think there's any pressing reason for that there. I think they've got whatever normal food they need on the island. They don't have to swim, I don't think, to survive. Maybe it's like slightly better somehow. It's just like more like they got the idea and started doing it. Just like human stuff changes in this random kind of insane way sometimes. It's not necessarily, and in fact, it's not always. In fact, it's often to the detriment, or like survival-wise. I think the way things can go for whatever the reason is. I think it's something a little bit beyond evolution, but natural selection is also true at the same time. It's like when they take an aspect of something and it's true, and they make it the full thing. But I don't think that's all there is to it. That's all I can say, because it's not a topic of interest to me that I'm going to spend my life trying to investigate what's missing from it. And I don't think it's something you can ever know, because it's one of these things that cause and effect in the world that are sort of beyond human reckoning, probably. Maybe not, but at least I could be wrong. Someone could observe something that really ties it together still. I don't know. I just don't feel it's complete. But it's true, but it's not complete. So I'm not an evolution denier. But anyway, so how does this tie into whatever else you were going to say?
Well, basically, you have all these aesthetic choices that have been made through the evolutionary process over, whatever amount of time period to make it to where the moth has the eyes of an owl on its back, and so therefore it's not attacked by larger animals of prey. So therefore it's a defensive strategy. So, I mean, it's just one of those things. It's like a bodybuilder wearing tank tops, or something. I don't know.
Well, it's like if you just say in your area you start to get your life becomes threatened by wolves or bullies, and your back suddenly starts to resemble a wolf's face or a bully's face, local bully's face,
right,
over a period of like 5 million years,
right.
like incessant bullying. But it just
you could be like a fucking skinny dork that wears like the the pectoral shirts, the silk screen of the muscles and six pack and all this, and just over thousands of years of wearing this shirt, you'd probably have to get a lot more shirts because they would rot off of your rotting corpse. But you know what I mean, like.
Yeah,
I don't know how it ties in. I didn't ask how it tied in. All right, God damn it.
Right.
This is the creative mind at work, and it's going half capacity at best.
Yeah, just the fact of pure defense and like taking millions of years. I don't know. And then it's just like through random breeding of like mutation. So, this child is mutant in this certain crazy way, and therefore it survives. I mean, there's some truth to it for sure, but it's something else that's missing there, and I don't know what. That's all I can say. I trust my instinct on these matters.
Well, I will say it makes sense in the sense of for procreation of the species that we have gained this perspective on attraction to each other through years of communal bonding. Therefore, say in Europe in the cave systems where we're hanging out with small groups of people, where we're telling stories and we're building experiences together, and so now you can cultivate these survival strategies of
growing a pair of eyes in your back. Yeah. Well, so there's the other thing. There's that life continually is recombining in bizarre patterns. It's not just life. Everything in the cosmos, as far as we can see, is a matter of over time changing in the most bizarre ways imaginable through like a matrix of algorithmic random happenstance that just tries this and tries that, tries this. So every child born is going to be slightly different. And
right.
Certain ones will survive, and they'll change in unexpected ways all the way through. So that's just like the world. This is what it is here to do, is to create novelty through this combining and recombining in complexity from basic principles. And not just life, but like everything, everything.
You're starting to sound like the Alan Watts, Terrence McKenna bit.
Yes. Yes. I'm right. I could lead into that.
Yeah. Hey, we did it. We got one.
Well, have you finished your point on whatever it was, evolution?
Yeah, pretty much. We can go into the other part of it. We can tie that in somewhere if I can find and put it in, and if not, we'll bring it somewhere else to go for the Terrence McKenna bit.
You're good for that.
Please.
You're good for that kind of insertion. But so yeah, the Terrence McKenna bit. What was the Terrence McKenna bit? What did we want to say about it?
Fuck, I know, man. I don't know. You're the one that propositioned me with it. Let's see.
Oh, okay. No, okay. It's fine. No,
singularity.
Okay, it's that little bit I wrote today. Yes, right. It does tie it nicely in. I must have been thinking about it in the back of my mind there. So yeah, he Terrence I'm a great fan of Terrence McKenna, and I thought he was brilliant, a genius.
Sure.
And he was fearless psychonaut. And yes, one of his great theories, or what his penultimate sort of conclusion to things, was that things are heading for a singularity, which you hear talked about. This sounds like something kind of a Klaus Schwab kind of dream or something, or like people talk about the singularity, this and that. But his idea was that evolution and everything was increasing in complexity. Novelty was just increasing all the time as the years went on. And you can see through his lifetime how he would think that for sure. And maybe it is that way. It might still very well prove to be true. but certainly he lived through like the 60s through the 80s, and so from someone who lived in those eras, you can see how life would seem like just was hitting you with new things all the time, getting more and more like just in the terms of human culture. Even you learned about the past, but even as you live through it, like there was some new stimulus, some new kind of a fairly amazing thing going on, something you get into, and people were exploring space and things like this. So his idea was that this, I can see how he would think this, and maybe he's right still, is that this is going to reach the singularity is when this complexity is going to reach such fervor that it culminates in this point of sort of maximum compressed complexity. How did he put it? When you'd have the most complexity in the shortest space of time, the greatest complexity in the shortest space of time. And I'd have to like reread it or re-listen to him to really describe it better than that. But that's more or less the gist of it. This was his singularity idea, that we were heading to this ultimate event thing. And I was thinking, if like very recent years are anything to go by, that at least in terms of human culture, that if anything is the reverse now, and we are like reversing into so many things are forbidden, and so many things are growing more banal and boring, and things are closing off and being limited and sort of shutting down. It feels like we're heading towards the point, the singularity of ultimate boredom, where like everything's gone and nothing happens.
Right.
So and like
we talked about that.
The complexity in human culture just feels like it's slowed down. Did we talk about it already?
Well, we talked about the idea of the forever culture that basically has made this slurry of culture that ends with what we have now, the infinite culture of rap and sampling, basically.
Yeah, rap music and like new all-female cast remake of a classic movie or something, and like just that forever. Yeah.
From your perspective on this Singularity by Terence McKenna, it sounds very positive, which is interesting to note. I would like to know what the end result is, because you can see the end result with where we're at now. So the end result is basically the fall of an empire. So what's the opposite?
I can't really remember what you're supposed to come out of the ass end of that in, according to him. I think it was like some sort of peaceful perfection, Shangri-La, because we've conquered and like united somehow the human soul with the complexity of the universe or something, or it's something like that. Time ends and restarts or something. I can't remember what it was, but it was like
yeah. Mm-hmm.
But
that sounds correct.
Well, maybe. Yeah. I mean, he's not. It's really actually. I just wanted to make my point, cheekily, metaphorically, that actually very recently it feels the opposite. Like his complexity that he was so rightly noticing and admirable of, it has slowed down, at least on the human scale. I mean, there's still interesting people doing interesting things, like ourselves right now. Let's say doing, other people doing unique, interesting things, trying to. Yeah, I mean, there's whole other. There is complexity going, but I don't know. At the same time, it doesn't feel as, and like his whole thing was novelty, and it feels like novelty has shut down and reversed a little bit. It could be just a temporary dip or something, because it's forced. The anti-novelty is forced. It's like we are forced really by law and by censorship for this to be this way. It's not natural. So maybe that doesn't speak to it. I hope it's not actually reversing and becoming more banal, and everything will just get more boring until like nobody can be bothered. Just like everything just winks out of existence out of just boredom with itself.
Well, censorship will do that. Censorship will create that model that you just said. What got us to the idea of novelty and individuality being the keen totems of all creative energies is honestly, it's capitalism. It's the survival of the fittest mentality, instead of having a communal tie where you're doing things that are set with natural intention.
I wouldn't put all the blame on capitalism. I think all these things, all these political movements and things are, in a way, like everything else, are like a living thing that has a day and comes and goes, and it can be a bright shiny jewel in its youth, and then it sort of turns geriatric and becomes a parody of itself, as did with all your favorite bands, Even Black Sabbath in the end was like a bit of a parody. By the time they did Headless Cross and that, I was like, okay, you're wasting our time now.
How's that?
Black Sabbath?
Well,
I don't know.
no,
I mean,
they
they were
become
good.
a parody of themselves. They were just basically creating music that sounded like music from 40 years ago. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's like Metallica doing Saint Anger or something, or no, worse. It's when the albums after Saint Anger, when they actually, it's like Metallica trying to sound like Metallica, but they can't do it. Like it's so gone and lost. Like, everything has this lifespan. Like everything, ideas, countries, religions, political movements. I think.
What about
But
masterpieces?
so
Do
even
masterpieces have a
even let's say,
lifespan?
without speaking of it, even let's mention your favorite political movement, without mentioning its name. Let's say if there was a new version of it, it would obviously be something new. It would be inspired by, but it would never be exactly the same. And if you tried to make it exactly the same, it just wouldn't work. Probably. That's just
Sure.
life. I think that's just part of the change, the novelty, and the complexity feeding off itself.
Okay.
But the cosmos just wants new shit all the time, I guess. And whether it wants perhaps forever, I don't know. Possibly forever. It would make more sense actually if it went forever than if it didn't, which is the funny thing. But yeah, Terrence McKenna.
What about masterpieces though? What about like a painting by Caravaggio or Peter Paul Rubens? Did that have a lifespan?
Well, you could say that in a way. I mean, there's plenty of people nowadays who would happily just throw it on the bonfire and wouldn't care about
That's
it.
true. I agree with that.
Like a really good thing, well-made thing does last forever, but it becomes a jewel reminder of a past thing that you can never have again. Exactly. Which is still makes it all the more of a treasure for as long as you can keep it when it's really a well-done thing.
Right.
And usually a well-done thing that can survive a few generations of change will then generally inspire a new kind of change and create something new based on it, similar to it, but never quite the same.
Right. That's a hum thinker right there. I'll have to get back to you on that one.
I found some fireworks.
I will say that the breaking of people's brains with basically forced ADHD, attention deficit, has probably sped up the process as well of having a piece last for its natural intended lifespan, instead of just like, hey, that was a cool album. 5 years later, yeah, they're not as good as they once were, that kind of shit.
Yeah. But it's also, even if like you tried to make a band today that sounded exactly like Black Sabbath in the day, it wouldn't really work out. Even if you did like a bang up job, you'd just be like, okay, here's some good. You're trying to sound exactly like Black Sabbath. You always have to try and mix it up and make it a bit new. See, so our problem with, like my problem anyways, I can't speak for you, but I know you more or less agree. The problem with the new stuff, people think, oh, we're traditionalists, we hate anything new, but it's not that at all. It's like, no, your new stuff is not that good. It's not good enough to even be rolled out as something new. It shouldn't even be. This is like a falsely presented, interrupted evolution. Let's say we haven't been permitted to lose our wolf fur and grow flippers and turn into whales. It's like somebody's come along and like caged us basically in the zoo and kept us in a state of being like mostly wolves, forced to swim in the water. Now, if you didn't, that would make no sense unless you have watched the beginning of this. And even if you have, maybe it doesn't. But I mean, that's your fault. I've made perfect sense.
I think we're still on the same topic with the whales that you were talking about. So yeah, I think that that'll do. That'll do. Pig or whale, wolf whale that swims or what the fuck ever.
Yeah. Oh, there's another topic on evolution. Now, this is a scary thought because I think we are potentially headed there. And it's obvious, and people have alluded to this, but if you really think about it, it's a genuine possibility. Because you just made me think of the evolution of the pig. Well, the evolution of animals like that is completely nowadays, and for like quite a while, related to their usefulness as livestock and related to how we steer their evolution. We are completely in control of that animal's
you're right.
Future state and evolution and what happens to them. And generally, it's going to be how useful to us they are as food, and what the ones that survive and carry on are going to be the ones that are most useful, which is horrific,
Or the feral ones.
Well, there's some feral ones too, yeah, but generally speaking, in the large part.
And what do you think about that?
I haven't made. Let me just finish the main point here. Is that the horrific thing is that we can see ourselves being steered more and more into this livestock state. I know it seems like a fanciful illusion, but really, we are. The average human is more and more becoming like, if you can, the elites might be actually viewing us in that kind of way as kind of like a livestock. Very much so. And even in the idea that people were more intelligent, say in the 100 years ago and so forth. And that actually led to the rise of various revolutions, bottom-up revolutions, is because the average person got a lot smarter and realized, maybe you might say, they didn't have to be a serf or a factory worker or whatever. Not to make like pro-communism arguments. I'm just saying as an outside observation. As potential, it's a fanciful theory, really, but it's sort of possibly true. So that the elites then see that they don't need or want animals or people to be above a certain intellect, and if they've maybe intentionally dumbed people down so they can return to a more livestock type arrangement with them. Certainly that if that would be an impossible or an intentional thing, that it's certainly working, and it really is. The way you might view a lot of people. And in fact, frankly, a lot of them even deserve to be. They're such fucking numbskulls and hopeless nobodies. They may as well be pigs. They only think with the basest of desires and emotions.
It seems like the best apparatus for control, wouldn't it? To have at least a functioning serf class that can spin the wheels but not ask questions.
Well, that's kind of what they had, like in the past. The reason certain people became so intelligent was because there was exactly opposite to what we have now. You had high breeding at the top, and a lot of people at the bottom were dying.
Right.
Like through the medieval period and earlier and stuff. So and obviously, generally speaking, the more intelligent you are, generally speaking, the higher your status. You find a way to raise your status. So you had a high breeding of intelligence, and sort of like when over time, with technology and things that changed things so that everybody could survive more, but now we're being slowly sort of outbred by the really dumb class.
For sure.
And but they've only reached a certain level of intelligence. Now they're going to drag everybody down. They are dragging everybody down to a lower kind of state of intelligence, I think. And I don't know if it'll return to a more feudal type of state, but like not with the technology we have. It really will be, if it could potentially be something a lot more like livestock. Like literally you're in a cage and your stimulus is fed to you. You've got a screen and it says eat now and the food is yummy, but you don't even know that you're born in this cage and you always live there like a chicken or a pig, right? You don't know any different.
Right.
Kind of horrific situation. It's not impossible to envision, is it?
Well, I mean, you've seen Idiocracy, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I remember used to look at that film about 15, 20 years ago. Now it's not so funny. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I mean, it is funny, but it's also just like, wow, yeah, I live in that. And it could take like 400 years.
We could actually make a fortune by releasing that movie with the ass, and it's just farting.
Yeah, probably
for like an hour, and it would probably make a fortune. People would go, even at this point right now, like even ironically though, but they would go and they'd be like, look at the ass.
Yeah, just put like the who's who of favorite cause flag on one of the ass cheeks, and there you go, boom.
Boom. I always love that saying, boom. A friend of mine used to hear it in cheesy like sort of boardroom meetings with boomers and stuff. No, boomers, boom. But like they were like, they wanted something like this or that, boom.
Why do you think boomers like boom, brother?
Yeah, but then a friend of mine, he thought it was hilarious. He'd just start saying it all the time. He'd just go like, hello, boom, or whatever. Like,
bada bing, bada boom. I think that's probably where it comes from, right?
I don't know. I think it's meant to be.
Is that what they call nomenclature?
I don't know. It reminds me. I was actually last night I saw a clip of Full Metal Jacket, the beginning with the amazing, excellent drill sergeant guy. Gunnery Sergeant Hartman. And it reminded me, there's I used to watch it when I was a lot younger, and I used to pick out some of the more amazing things he would say, and make note of them, that you wouldn't even, things that sort of went past you at the time. You're like, okay, that's whatever. And actually, if you zero in on them, they're absolutely astounding. Like, what's one of them? At one point, he's trying to get Pyle to go over the fucking climbing thing, whatever it is. And he goes, "I will motivate you, Private Pyle, if I have to short dick every cannibal on the Congo." And what the fuck does that mean? I assume it means, one has to assume, I think, unless you know, if it's some American slang thing that you know, I assume he's saying that he's so enraged at Pyle that he's going to go to the Congo and have a dick measuring contest with them and embarrass himself because he's going to lose. And that's how desperate he is to motivate Pyle. And if that's what he's saying, if that's what he's saying, that is astounding. An astounding thing to say.
Short dick, maybe he's like, I don't know, maybe castration or something. He's going to go and castrate every cannibal in the Congo.
Who knows? But he says a lot of things like that. If you really listen to it, there's a lot of things people like miss, or you sort of skip over for the bigger ones. But like, fuck it.
Do you feel the uneasiness in those statements? Because I remember when I watched that. It's been many years since I've seen it. That I know that these lines are funny, but they're delivered in a way that makes you feel like uneasy and weird.
Well, he's trying to. I mean, that's the way they should still train them. What he was doing, he's trying to totally like break them down to the basic level of like almost animal level. Like he's trying to humiliate them through every means possible, any way that makes them different from anybody else.
Right.
He's racist to the certain ones. He's like, just because he's trying to break everybody down and make them totally. It's the exact opposite of today, which is like where you find genuine kind of toughness and camaraderie, which is to like what men do, like proper men, like say ourselves.
Well,
arguably.
Are you talking about this right here?
No, but it's like you say when you meet somebody, you have an acquaintance or a friend, and he's got some kind of difference or problem, you fucking immediately point it out and start mocking him about it. You go, fuck, you're short. Look at that nose. Fuck you. And you like, everyone has a laugh, and you're like, whatever. And if the guy's too much of a woman, or he's all sensitive and fucking starts crying, then it's over and he gets lost. But generally that wouldn't happen. You'd, over time, then that's the way you make everyone kind of on equal level, is that you immediately point these things out. You don't hide away from them like people do today. You're not allowed, you just change your language. You're not allowed to say anything about anybody. Like, oh, you can't pretend you don't see his nose.
Right.
It's much better.
Well, usually I don't get so aggressive with people because I really just don't, like, I don't consort with them, and I'm not going to consort with them on any kind of level where they're going to be in a social circle with me. If they're in a social circle with me, I will fuck with them all day.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I don't mean like, not just like random some guy I'm eating and I say, like, you're fat and you're no, I mean like, yeah, basically friends or whatever, and you mock the shit out of each other.
Yeah,
just continually, and it's hilarious. Like, it is hilarious.
Well, I mean, as I told you, I mean, we've been sparring lately, right?
Right.
Which is a lot of fun, but obviously, there's things that happen. You get to this emotional state when you hurt somebody or when they get hurt, to where they kind of open up, and so that you build emotional connections that way.
Open up how? Start crying or something?
Not so much crying, but just like, you gain sympathy for when you see them on the ground and they're kind of writhing a bit and stuff like that.
Writhing.
Yeah. Right. You know what writhing means, right? It means like, oh man.
Writhing. Yeah. Writhing.
Yeah, that kind of bit. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a good way to build camaraderie. That's for sure.
Oh, it is. Yeah. Oh yeah. Anytime you're in like a desperate kind of situation with somebody, you'll generally end up being friends with them, I think. You really, anytime you like are together, that's why people who are in wars and things end up being such good friends.
Right.
That is the way it goes. Like you build. It used to be that way too. If you like dropped acid with somebody or something, because you would have this momentous adventure with terror and everything. But you come out of it like you shared. You come out of it like you shared a big adventure, like
the ego death. That is something, that there's something to that.
So beating each other up is the same.
Yeah, you get an ego death when you get your ass pinned. I mean, I guess.
I wouldn't have sparred. I never did like MMA or any of that nonsense, but I was good at wrestling. I was always really good at wrestling. I could get you in a headlock and it would be, or a bear hug or something, and it would be pretty good.
I dare you. I dare you to fucking try.
Really? Why? How would you get out of it? If you're not if you're wrestling though, it's not like you're not allowed to start punching or kicking or something.
Yeah, well, right. In a headlock situation, I mean, it depends on how you got it, right? If somebody's got you from the front, if they've got you from the back, if they've got you upside down, I mean, there's so many different ways that, it's situational for the most part. It's not like you're going to get out of it, but you might be able to, maneuver them in a way to where they will break their bond and you can wriggle out of that.
I would bet you money. I'll bet you $50 right now. If anything ever happened that we met in person, which, I don't know, probably won't happen, but I will bet you now, if there was some way to arrange it, maybe we'll get people online to invest in this. It'll be like a thing.
Yeah.
Be like boxing or something, right? Except
I
will allow you to get me in a headlock, and I will not only break out of it, but I'll break out of it while putting you into one.
Oh, really? So you got the headlock game unlocked.
From which you will never get escape. Unless I'm too old and too injured to even fucking do anything.
Yeah.
Just don't make me raise my shoulder. Don't make me raise my arm any higher than this in the air, and then I'll be.
Can we do this at in front of the Eiffel Tower or Florence or somewhere?
That'd be good, yeah. I'll throw you off the tower in the end. Like, fuck you.
It's just like handshake, hi, Brendan. Motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly. Fucking takedown. So, have we addressed whatever was on the list? I mean, what the fuck was it?
Sure. Well, yeah, I think so. You've got two things. One of the things is kind of close to where we were just at, which was the boringness of the degradation of our becoming of culture, I guess.
What does it say exactly? That things have gotten boring?
Buddha, let's see. Fucking the greatest crime of modern culture is that it is boring.
Oh, that's just like a Telegram post I made, and I thought I'll throw it on the list. I'll have something to say about that. But yeah,
it's fine.
We kind of talked about it already. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
that is the great crime. That is the great crime of it. And when you think about it, like how boring it is, like just think of like the mainstream stuff, especially.
It's boring and insulting, I feel.
Yeah,
it's very.
If you tried to look past the insulting part and actually tried to it just seems so boring. It's the same thing over and over. Nobody's allowed to. There's a real takeover of the mediocre. I think that's transpired here. The mediocre type of person, because I think say I know some people that I would consider fairly successful, say in the corporate world, and fairly successful people. Not there's some I know that are beyond successful, that are excellent characters and not like this at all. But like the average kind of semi or successful type person in that world is really a very mediocre person, generally speaking. And it's because to even, I think, have success in that world, you have to be on the sort of normal guy wavelength a little bit and understand the crap culture and the hip hop and the new movie with the all female cast, kind of thing. You have to actually be into it a little bit and understand. You have to understand the average idiot's mind, a little bit, but through being a bit of an idiot yourself. So the average corporately successful person, a lot of them are kind of just very mediocre, unremarkable, not particularly talented or smart, just kind of excellent at being conformist, sort of like Patrick Bateman, but in a totally uninteresting, non-serial killer way, just lamos. And yeah, this kind of person gets rewarded in this society. To be mediocre gets rewarded in the plainest possible sense. That type of person does not, they don't just fail to notice or are unimpressed by, say, radical, interesting culture, either historical or new. They actively are terrified of it and run away from it. They know what it means to be seen to be out of step. You know what I mean? So there's a kind of, it's not just a force, we're rewarding mediocrity. So if you want to say on the evolutionary level, we're not growing eyeballs on our back like we should. We are the surviving people are the blandest.
Yeah, survival of the blandest.
Unimaginative fucking jackasses that have ever crawled out of the sea. Fucking jerks.
Yeah, it's a bizarre thing. What I've noticed from my personal experience is people with like ground level wealth, we're talking like 2 to 3 million, are those people that you're talking about. The people with a lot more money, I've had some really interesting conversations with. But like I said, these are conversations that happen very late at night, and libations are out, and we're getting out there. So it's a different story.
You've already taken your shirt off, and you're already like,
yeah, got the oil on, Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're I'm already in a headlock, and no, I'm kidding. So
do you ever watch? I never knew the story of fucking that guy. What's his name? Now this is dangerous to talk about because I'm going to end up saying some words, and we're on YouTube.
Yeah,
but I'll try to mention it anyways. Fucking Gacy, John Wayne Gacy.
Yeah, I know about Gacy.
So like I always heard the story was that he was a clown and that he like killed kids or whatever.
Yeah,
but there was some fucking Netflix show. And his full story would totally cover. I think it was a total cover up what he really was until recently, as far as because I didn't know all these. He was like a major Democrat campaigner guy, and he was like pictures of him with who was the guy at the time? Who was the president at the time? Carter or something like that, or his wife, and like
probably.
Yeah, pictures of him posing with them and stuff.
Well, Democratic Party operatives, all sorts of shit. Yeah, he was heavy into it.
I didn't know all this about him. They totally kind of covered that up. And there's this, you can watch the show, and it's a fucking grisly, like he was this repressed gay guy who like would kill his victims as well. I think because he felt guilty about being gay or something. I don't know why. But he was like, no, a total psychopath. He would like bury them in his basement. And it's the story about one of the, I shouldn't even say because it'll gross you out, but like there's a story in that documentary of like when they discover the bodies.
Right.
This guy goes under into the basement. And he says there's like a pool of water there, and he looks in the water and he sees like a kind of fucking flowering garden of worms that are different and big. Just you're talking about evolution and weird insects that were different than any worm he's ever seen under this water, like an alien blossoming.
Sure.
And then he knew something crazy was in there. There was a bunch of bodies.
Yeah, well, there you go. I mean, that's how he knew.
Why did I even decide to
I have no idea. What the fuck were we talking about?
I don't know. there was some point I was going to tie it in with something. Shit.
What about cannibals, right? You got the thing about cannibals, that movie I never saw.
I'll short dick every cannibal in the Congo.
Yeah, yeah, you're going to short dick every cannibal, and I'm going to naked oil wrestle every billionaire. So this has become that stream now.
Well, you're getting the better deal out of that. I'm going to get there. I'm going to go there and get humiliated, and come back with my fucking.
I don't think you will.
Well,
not saying that you're like an impressive guy, but I think there's a lot of myths and a lot of these tactical stereotypes about people and their persuasions.
Yeah, but you're still getting the better. Well, no, maybe not, because you have to have a night of homosexual love, which you're not predicated.
Now, I never said anything about that.
Well, you might get a cool million out of it. You might get a payoff. That's the thing.
Hey, if I don't have to work anymore, I mean, don't start suspecting. All right.
You can always do a John Wayne Gacy and kill him after and bury him in your basement. Now we've tied everything together. How do you like that?
Yeah.
What did you say? What was the last thing on your list about? Yeah, there was something about cannibals. Some other thing.
The cannibals, the road, Cormac McCarthy, that whole bit.
Oh.
Yeah, I've never seen that.
Okay, yeah. So if you read The Road,
sure,
it's not bad. It's okay.
I hear it's good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all right. It's okay, and it's
a zombie thing, right?
No. It's like a gritty, realist apocalypse thing. This guy and his son are walking. The world has kind of ended, it doesn't explain what the disaster was, but it's like,
okay.
Yeah. So there's like no more food. Everything's the last few surviving people. The animals are all dead. Nothing's growing, and the last few people are basically like feeding off each other. and so they've got to survive going down this road heading south towards warm. And it's this gritty realism thing. It holds, spares no punches or whatever. Sort of, trying to just show you, like, give an idea of it, like being just a brutal survival story kind of thing. But in the film, but in the film version, I noticed right away. Now this is dicey for YouTube as well, but whatever.
I was thinking so.
Right away,
I'm saying it's an all-star cast of ascended and yeah, I can't either.
No, it just
try to use every code word I can.
It shows the it's got this. The film has this kind of element of gritty realism. You think,
is it a Burger King's Kids Club of zombies? Is that what you're saying?
No, there's no zombies. It's not. It's just actual people. Like,
okay.
There's nothing else to eat. Like this.
It's cannibals, right?
Yeah. Actual cannibals. But it shows it shows the roving cannibal gangs in the film. It doesn't mention this in the book, and they're obviously totally, like, perfectly multicultural and getting
they've been Netflix along just fine. Right?
Yeah, like just like it's like an episode of Friends in a certain way, except they're running around eating people. And
Friends is not a multicultural adventure. I know what you're trying to say.
What am I saying? Yeah, it's an episode of what? I don't know.
She's the Boss. I don't even know what that is.
That's an even older thing. There's nothing in that either. No, She's the Boss.
Yeah.
No, that's like, is that like the Tony Danza thing? Like the he's the happy guinea who shows up to fix the fucking refrigerator or whatever, and she's the well-to-do.
Fuck, I know. That's beyond mine.
Okay. All right, hold on. There's got to be a good example. Different Strokes.
Yeah, there you go. Different Strokes.
That's it. It's Different Strokes, but they're eating each other. And like, so you're watching this movie and you think, okay, gritty realism, but the cannibal gangs are perfectly multicultural and getting along. And like I said, this is all just another post I made. I thought I'll throw this on the list, whatever. I'll have something to say about it, but I don't really. But
yeah.
But like, it's like fucking, all you have to watch is watch a prison documentary, and you know exactly that it's, not remotely close to the truth. So that's the way it's going to be. So all your gritty realism is out the window on your first little. This is why I cannot watch a movie. Like, and that movie was out ages ago. I remember that was before I was like sort of red pilled or anything. And
yeah,
I remember even then, right away, like the whole realism of the thing was over. I was like, okay, this is just silly now.
See, I actually like these elements of movies because I look at them as like it's evolved propaganda. Where if you watch a movie from the 30s, you can see where the studios are starting to worm in like liberalism and rugged individualism, and it just keeps on cascading and evolving into what we have now. And you can see all the benchmarks of it,
Rugged individualism.
Yeah, rugged individualism. The mercenary is a big one, where you have this character that pretty much every like Western is like this, where this this outlaw comes into town and he's looking to steal money and do this thing, but he meets this scrappy group of downtrodden outsiders, and he has to help them out, and then he becomes the good guy.
Right.
Yeah. So that's that rugged individualist kind of very libertarian valued kind of person.
Right. I'm just trying to look at the there's a good few comments, mostly from this guy Rick D, who are there as well. Hello, Rick.
Yeah.
A lot of good comments. But I don't think there's any of those super chat things. I'm not even sure what that would look like. Not that I expected any, because this is the first one.
Yeah, sure.
It's a test. It is meant to be a test anyways. But I'm sure they would show up looking different than just a regular comment on it. But I can't be sure. I don't even know that for sure. So if someone made one and I didn't see it, then I'll fix it up for the next one. I'll figure out what I'm doing. And also the entropy, I'll figure that out, because I don't think that worked for anybody. I couldn't. If it did, I can't even see. If anybody made any questions on entropy, I'll address them. We'll do this again soon, and we'll get right into them. I don't think anybody did, as I said, because I didn't. If we're going to do this, I have to like give lots of warning, and this was a test, anyways. So yeah, and at least it appeared to work. And whatever, right? So have we addressed all the questions?
I think so.
All the points or whatever. Yeah. Okay. Shall we call that a success? And
I think so. I think that went pretty well. I mean, except for the beginning, but it seemed like after we got through those little growing pains right there, little mountains of strife.
What was wrong at the beginning?
You trying to figure out entropy?
That didn't last long. That was like 1 minute, and I just like,
it's all good.
I think if I log into it through YouTube, it would have worked. Oh shit!
Right. What?
Rick, he either just made one.
Made
Rick,
what?
Well, is that okay? He either just gave us $1.
Oh.
Or he somehow he must have given. I was about to say he's either given us $1 or he's mimicked what it looked like somehow through some crafty, crafty technical magic. But no, he's obviously given us $1. As it's got to be easier than. So thank you, Rick. Have you got a question?
Well,
Hit us with a question. You paid hard cash.
Hard cash.
He sent $1. Yeah. So what's the question? Hit us with a question. We'll wait until you've questioned us, and we'll answer it so thoroughly and with such amazing detail.
Absolutely.
Aaron might even take his shirt off for you.
Yeah, I'm gonna start flexing right here
for that $1. We know how to dance for our dinner around here.
Know how to dance for dinner?
You ever heard that? Sing for your supper, dance for your dinner, whatever.
No, I haven't. Is that Irish?
Oh, that's like I don't know what it is. Maybe some Canadian thing.
Sing for your supper, dance for your dinner.
Here's the question: what were the criticisms of Islam in the Satanic Verses that was enough to get a fatwa? Well, seeing as I was too bored.
Was that the one?
Yeah, that's the question. Yeah.
No, that's the question. I was curious if that's what earned him the fatwa.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure that was it. Yeah, that's the only reason I tried to read it is I heard about it was famous at the time for it. But I didn't even finish it, so I'm not sure. But I believe it's something to do with that Muhammad was sent by Satan instead of God or something like that.
Wow, deep.
Yeah, I think.
So like edgy atheism for the Middle East, basically.
Yeah, just basically. pretty sure that was it. I just remember like beginning to read it and like I couldn't. It was like sort of partially fiction, partially sort of religious nonfiction, and I thought this is fucking bullshit. I can't read this shit.
Right.
I read like, but then again, I was like a teenager, so maybe I would feel differently now. And it's ironic because I'm actually writing a book that is like that as well.
Oh yeah.
I can see people are trying to read it and think, what is this shit?
Based on a true story.
Well, anyways, that's a whole different matter. I'm doing that regardless. I will do that to intentionally annoy people if I have to.
I will say that in the book that I read, that he mentions in general that is a living person, and he is very despondent and inflammatory with his statements about this person.
Who does Rushdie?
Yeah, Rushdie.
Okay, who's the person?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know?
I don't know the name of the person, but that is what I was told about that book, is that there is a general in this book.
Like Ayatollah Khomeini or something, or like.
Yeah, but it's not not any name that is familiar to me.
Well, it's Iran. I believe it was Iran were the ones who were really out to get him. So it was something to do with them, probably, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to have to go with Iran on this one.
The Ayatollah, yeah. Rick says the Ayatollah. We'll look into that, Rick, and we will answer that question either on this next one. So when should we do this again? Like we could do it more often. I was going to just do it every Monday, but
Mondays and Wednesdays are my best days, and Tuesdays sometimes.
Okay. Right. So we'll do it. We'll try again Wednesday. How about that? And we'll do a Monday. We'll do Monday and Wednesday, and try to keep at this time.
Yeah, sounds good.
And then I can figure out also how to stream directly to Odyssey at the same time, supposedly. And so
good.
I'll do that,
so
and I'll figure out the stream.
Did YouTube and Entropy work? Is that what you're saying?
You can stream to the Entropy did not work. I don't think. I'm not sure. I'll figure out what happened there after. But
well, if people were able to ask you questions and send money, then that's pretty fucking cool.
Well, that's just YouTube. My YouTube is still monetized, believe it or not. I never got any strikes or anything. So
right, and we're trying to keep it that way.
Yes, we will try to keep it that way. So yeah, that's not for now because that was just a test. And ideally, we should, like when we do it on Telegram, we usually go for what, 2 hours, don't we? Do we do an hour and 2 hours?
Hour and a half.
Is it an hour and a half? Okay, so we're not too far off from what we normally do. Huh. Yeah, about an hour and a half. Yeah, then you get kind of like you run out of steam. Specifically run out of steam.
Yeah, me. Yeah, my brain just has expelled all the air and volume it can, and I would just sit there like I just fucking blue screened.
Yeah.
So that's what I do.
Totally hopeless. So the interesting thing to test would be to have you on plus another guest and see if that works. Without
what, 3 people?
Without free. Well, no, like say you and me sort of interviewing someone, like we've done, like on the Telegram when someone comes on and they say something. Like here we can get people to give questions via the chat, which is actually good enough.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know. Maybe it's too much to ask. Yeah, 3 people might be a hassle.
I mean, it might be all right. It's just that me and you are both we have a lot to say, so we would just need like a hype man in the back being like, yeah, that's dope.
Yeah, clapping in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Without the rap lingo. Yeah, that's dope. No, we won't be saying that. It'd be like something a bit more sophisticated than that. But sort of, howling and grunting or like an animal or something. Yeah,
there you go. Or dancing, or maybe juggling. I like juggling.
We should have a lady like dancing. Yeah, like the girl in Hawkman to
have these ladies dance right here.
Yes. So that's it. Wednesday at the same time. We'll do it again.
Sounds good.
And since it works, I will assume it works again next time.
Right.
How's that for reasoning? Hey?
It's the best we can do right now.
So goodbye.
Wow.